41 states still outlaw gay marriage.
Families change as history changes. There's no one family form that's guaranteed to produce successful kids and happiness, and there's no one family form that's guaranteed not to.
I just wanted to quickly touch and say that I'm a product of a gay marriage. Well, actually, unfortunately, my uncle, my father, couldn't get married. I was raised by two men, and I want to say I think they did an exceptional job. My home was nothing but wonderful. We had traditional family values. We had holidays. I saw nothing but love and healthy things were invited in my home. And those two men did a phenomenal job. And when my uncle died back in 2002, my father was not entitled to his Social Security rights. We had to get a directive to even go into the ICU because we were not considered immediate family. This man raised me for 27 years of my life, and I could barely hold his hand when he died.
With that logic, straight people would not have gay kids. And it's a biologic, genetic predisposition.
The opposition said that, you know, we're all about the kids, and that just didn't make any sense to me. If you're all about the kids, then why don't you support people who are trying to raise them and have a great family instead of saying that they're not qualified? And I felt it was so important for me to get up there and say what I felt, because I don't think they really knew what they were saying when they put that out. I think it was the lack of information to say it was about the kids. It hurts me that they're so against my parents getting married, and if you think about the kids, then you should think about hurting the kids whose parents just want equal rights and whose kids just want equal rights and to feel accepted in their schools, with their teachers.
If gay and lesbian couples were allowed to marry, it could inject some $4 billion in spending over the next 3 years.
The city projects about 21,000 more will tie the knot statewide over the next 3 years. Gay marriage is expected to bring in about $391 million to New York over the next 3 years.
As a result, in the past year alone, same-sex marriage has generated nearly $259 million in economic activity in New York City. That includes our estimate of 235,000 hotel room stays, nearly 32,000 announcements and invitations printed, and more than 46,000 wedding favors purchased.
The biggest impact of the Same-Sex Act being passed by Albany is that it will generate a lot of business, particularly in the wedding industry.
The bakeries and the halls and the florists, and they all said their business was booming, even in rough times. And don't forget, when you get married, you have to pay a small fee to get that marriage certificate. So that's even money coming in to some of the local government. So it is a total moneymaker.
Business owners say if same-sex marriage were recognized federally across the nation, that could potentially add $9.5 billion a year to the U.S. economy.
Because it's about not allowing discrimination. It's about protecting all people from discrimination. That same-gender couples and people, because of their sexual orientation, not being allowed to be discriminated against. The Supreme Court found that homosexuality is a suspect classification. Correct. What that means is they need to be protected from discrimination because they have had a history of discrimination against them. They, in essence, are politically powerless because they are not the majority. Wait, and therefore, any law that purports to discriminate against them has to be subject to strict scrutiny of the court.
In a democracy, I believe whatever institutions and rights you do provide should be equally available to all your citizens. And the only reason not to provide marriage to gays and lesbians is because you think they're inferior in some way.
And someone made the comment that this is not about equality. Well, yes, it is about equality. And why in the world would we not allow those equal rights for individuals who truly were committed to one another in life to be able to show that by way of a marriage?
If you can't be married in this country, you are being left out of a very, very important component of what our society respects and reveres. And we are telling people when we put a restriction of that nature in the Constitution of the state, the biggest state in the United States, that it's okay. These people are different. They're not entitled to the same respect. They're not entitled to the same dignity. They're not entitled to equality. They are separate, and they are different, and they're somehow second-class citizens. They are not the same. They are not okay. And that is a state-instituted license to discriminate, to harass, to bully, and to do great damage. That's what we're trying to overcome, and that's what Proposition 8 case is all about.
You know, here's another thought to wrap things up. Oh, every time a gay or lesbian finds love at the parade, there's money to be made.
He's right!
It's time to groom, say paint that wedding hall, and lavender's the shade. There's money to be made.
He has a point!
Think of all the carriages and full white horses. There's millions lost from all your disapproving.
Well, that's not good.
Think of all the lawyers for the gay divorces. Think of the tattoo removing.
We get it now! We've been such fools!
I can see America's calling.